Hi there, I'm Rowena. Last Christmas, my daughter opened a gift bag from my sister. It was full of used clothes, still tagged with her son's name. My sister smiled and said, "At least she gets something." And no one, not my parents, not anyone, said a word. That moment didn't just break my heart, it woke something up. Have you ever felt your child was being punished just for being yours? It was snowing outside, the kind that muffled the world, made everything look softer than it actually was. Inside Sable's house, though, nothing felt soft. The lights were warm, the floor was heated, but the air, it was the kind of cold you don't feel on your skin, but somewhere deeper. Lena stood next to me, holding a paper-wrapped box she had decorated herself. Red glitter was smudged across her fingers. Her curls bounced with every hopeful step. She was wearing her holiday dress, the one she saved for big family days, even though I told her it wasn't necessary. But when you're 10 and still believe that effort might equal inclusion, you try anyway. We were the last to arrive. Sable greeted us with a kiss on the cheek, one of those air-light things people do when they're checking for makeup smears more than making contact. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. It rarely did. We found our places at the edge of the table, unassigned but known. Lena placed her gift at the tree, beside towering boxes wrapped in foil and satin bows. Hers looked out of place, like something from another world. I saw it happen in real time. Sable picked up a plain paper bag from the fireplace bench, handed it to Lena with a smile so thin it might have broken. Lena opened it carefully, like it might still hold magic. Inside were 2 sweaters, folded with creases, a small stain on the cuff of one. There was a tag inside one of them, faded but still readable. Colt W. "At least she gets something," Sable said lightly, taking a sip of wine. I didn't react. Neither did anyone else. Elaine, sitting 2 chairs down, looked at me, then at Lena and said, "No one owes you anything, Rowena. That's just how it is." The room didn't flinch. Donald reached for more mashed potatoes. Colt stayed on his phone. I turned to Lena. Her small fingers clutched the sleeve of one sweater. "Thank you," she said. Quiet but steady. She hugged it, eyes fixed on the floor. And I just stood there. Not because I agreed, not because I was weak, but because I'd seen this scene before. Only the name had changed. After dinner, the talk turned to Colt's placement test scores, how he was so ready for Ivy League. Lena handed Elaine a handmade ornament shaped like a star with Grandma written in gold crayon. Elaine smiled briefly, then set it beside her wineglass without a word. I remembered the year I made her a hand-sewn sachet. I was 12. She said, "It's sweet," and handed me a new purse the next day with a note. "Next time, just buy something." Later, I helped clean up. Lena stacked plates. She didn't ask questions. She didn't need to. We left around 9. No one asked if we wanted to stay longer. No one noticed when Lena forgot her gloves. Back home, I poured Lena a cup of cocoa and wrapped her in a blanket. She fell asleep fast, holding the second-hand sweater like it was something valuable. I picked it up carefully, laying it on the counter to fold. That's when I saw the tag again. Colt W. Faint but there. I didn't cry. I smoothed it down and whispered, "It starts again. But this time, I won't let it finish the same." The kitchen smelled like syrup and over-toasted bread. Lena was perched on the counter, barefoot, stirring pancake batter like it was a potion that could fix the world. Her cheeks were dusted with flour, and she kept humming the same jingle from the Easter parade ad we'd seen last night. "We should make bunny-shaped pancakes this time," she said, eyes bright. "Do you think Colt will be at Grandma's house again? Last year he brought that huge chocolate rabbit." I didn't answer right away. The envelope still sat on the edge of the table, unopened since yesterday. I had read it twice already. My name. Just mine. She hopped off the counter, opened the cabinet, started rummaging for cookie cutters. "It's going to be so fun. Maybe we can wear the matching sweaters again?" She still thought we were both invited. I smiled, but something in my chest shifted. The kind of shift you feel when a door closes without making a sound. I turned away, focused on pouring the coffee. Later, when she ran outside to play, I picked up the envelope again. Same cream cardstock, same glossy ink, Rowena Dale. Neatly printed in Sable's crisp handwriting. That was it. No note, no +1, no Lena. The last time this happened, I was 8 months pregnant and still hopeful. Sable had hosted a bridal shower and pulled me aside. "Maybe sit this one out," she said. "People might ask questions." And now, a decade later, it wasn't my swollen belly that made them uncomfortable. It was my daughter. I sat with that thought for a long time, wondering if I should tell Lena or lie. That afternoon, I called Sable. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, what's up?" I kept my voice level. "Hey, I just wanted to ask, the invitation, was it meant for both of us?" There was a pause, then a laugh, light, practiced. "Oh, I figured that was obvious, but Lena and Colt don't really talk, do they?" My grip tightened on the phone. I didn't say anything. She went on breezy. "I just didn't want her to feel out of place. No offense, you get it, right?" "I get it," I said, and hung up. I didn't move from the kitchen table for a while after that, just stared at the wall where Lena's drawings were taped. All crooked and overlapping, a collage of color and crooked smiles. From the living room, I could hear her singing, something off-key but happy. She was coloring, probably making cards for the family. She still thought she was part of the plan. That night, I went to clean up before bed. The invitation was back on the table. Only now there was a sticky note on it, written in Lena's neat little handwriting. "Plus Lena, 3. She added herself because no one else thought to. That night, I didn't sleep. Lena turned 10 on a Tuesday morning. The kitchen was still dim, sunlight slipping in through the blinds in thin lines. I lit the candle stuck in the middle of a banana muffin and whispered, "Happy birthday, baby." She beamed, her hair tangled from sleep, and leaned in to blow it out. No party, no guests, just us, the way it always was. A small gift bag sat on the porch when we woke up, pale pink with a crumpled ribbon. I knew it was from Elaine before even opening it. Every year she left something. No note, no hug, just the ritual drop-off, like fulfilling an obligation. Lena tore it open after breakfast. Inside was a box of crayons, 12 colors, some dull, one missing. She ran her thumb along the edge of the lid, then tilted it toward the light. The faint outline of a name was still there, written in pencil. Colt. She paused just for a second. "It's still nice, right, Mom?" I nodded, too quickly. "Of course, it's colorful." Her eyes searched mine for a beat. Then she smiled and went back to scribbling birthday doodles on the back of a cereal box. I stared at her profile, thinking how easily kids choose grace when adults don't give them any better options. Later that day, when she was in the shower, I called Elaine. "Hi, Mom. Quick question." I kept my tone light, almost playful. "The crayons you left, did you know they used to be Colt's?" She laughed. "So what? They're still good. I used to make you girls share everything when you were kids. No one died." I held the phone tighter. "Right," I said. "You should be glad Lena gets something. We didn't have this much back then." I didn't argue. I thanked her, hung up, and sat down at the kitchen table, hands curled into fists. I remembered my own 10th birthday, a dress 3 sizes too big, so you'll grow into it. The tag still had clearance red ink on it. That year, Sable got a personalized charm bracelet. I used to believe we were just a tight-budget family. Now I realized we were a divided one. That night, Lena fell asleep on the couch with the crayon box beside her. She'd used 5 of the colors already. Her drawings were messy and bright. Stars with uneven edges, hearts that leaned left. I picked up the box, turned it over in my hands. The lid squeaked slightly when I opened it. That name was still there, faint but persistent. Colt. I didn't cry. I took a black marker from the drawer, held the crayon lid steady, and wrote Lena in big, bold letters right over it. If no one else would rewrite the story, I would. The table looked like it belonged in a magazine. Polished wood, fresh flowers in a narrow vase, plates spaced just so. Sable never missed a detail, at least not the ones that could be photographed. The Sunday brunch was her new tradition, something she said keeps us connected, though it always felt more like performance art than family. Lena walked in carefully, smoothing down the shirt she had reworked from an old blouse. She had added tiny hand-stitched flowers along the hem and used soft pink thread to make it feel new. It was her first time wearing something she made in front of everyone. Her eyes sparkled with quiet pride, even if her hands tugged at the sleeves just a little too often. No one noticed. Not at first. We took our usual seats, away from the center of conversation. I was cutting a croissant when Colt looked up from his phone just long enough to sneer. "Looks like a rag," he said. It landed like a slap. But not because it was loud. It was the silence after that hurt more. Elaine poured more tea. Donald cleared his throat and asked about the weather. Sable smiled at something on her phone. No one looked at Lena. She folded her hands in her lap. Her face didn't change, but I saw the light dim in her eyes, and I hated how practiced she already was at swallowing that kind of moment. I wanted to say something. I wanted to scream. Instead, I reached for more jam. We left earlier than usual that day. Lena said she had homework, but she didn't pull out her backpack when we got home. She just curled up on the couch, hugging a pillow, and fell asleep while the cartoons played low in the background. The shirt lay draped over the back of a chair. I picked it up. The stitches were uneven in places, but full of thought. She'd sewn in care where others didn't even look. I could almost see her bent over the table, tongue between her teeth, determined to finish. I sat down with it and stared at the seams. Then, without really deciding to, I began to take them apart. Not all at once, just one thread at a time. I wasn't angry at her. I was terrified for her. If I took the shirt apart, maybe she wouldn't wear it again. Maybe she wouldn't offer herself so openly. Maybe she wouldn't get hurt the next time they laughed. Maybe I could protect her. But each pull of the thread felt like betrayal. By the time I was done, it was just fabric again. I folded it slowly, placed it in the bin labeled scrap, and then I sat there in the dark kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator the only sound. I looked at that folded piece of her and whispered, "I did what they've always done to me, and I don't know how to undo it without breaking her too." The email came in at 8:06 a.m. Monday. I was still in my robe, halfway through a second cup of reheated coffee, when I saw the subject line, Lena's Design Selected Earth Week Showcase. I clicked before I could blink. Lena's name, right there, in bold. Her teacher wrote about how Lena's second chance dress, made from repurposed curtain scraps and stitched with handwritten quotes, was chosen to represent the 5th grade contribution for the Earth Week display. I turned to find her still brushing her hair in the hallway mirror. "You did it," I said softly. She looked up, toothbrush in her mouth. "What?" "Your design. They picked it." The way her face lit up, it undid something inside me. A little breath I didn't know I'd been holding for months. That night, we celebrated the way we always did. Takeout pizza, the cheap kind with too much cheese, eaten straight from the box at the kitchen table. She showed me new sketches between bites, already planning what to improve. Her joy was unfiltered and rare, so I let her talk for as long as she wanted. Friday morning, the school newsletter arrived by email. I opened it on my phone while Lena was tying her shoes. I scrolled through brightly colored headlines, spring carnival dates, lost and found reminder, lunch menu changes. Then I saw Colt's photo. Student ambassador for spring. 2 paragraphs, a quote from Sable, listed as PTA liaison. Nothing about Lena. I scrolled again and again. Nothing. I didn't say a word, just printed the PDF and slipped it under a stack of bills. At work, I stared at the calendar, trying not to imagine her asking, "Did they say anything about me?" They hadn't. That evening, my phone buzzed. Miss Ketterman. Her message was short, tentative. "I'm really proud of Lena. She handled everything with so much care, but I think it's better if we don't make a big thing of it. You know, some parents are sensitive." I read it twice, then again. I didn't reply immediately. Instead, I sat on the couch, watching Lena cut fabric at the dining table, humming to herself like the world was still good. Later, after she'd gone to bed, I went to the fridge, pulled the pizza box from earlier in the week, and set it aside. I reached into the drawer where she kept her sketches. There it was, the one from the contest, edges curling, covered in tiny graphite notes. I took a photo, logged into Instagram. At Lena made this, no caption, just 3 hashtags, #seen, #silent victory, #my daughter I didn't shout. I just started recording everything. It started with a jacket. One Lena had poured herself into, patches of old denim, lace from a curtain we'd picked up at a thrift store, and hand-stitched quotes in uneven thread across the back. Every stitch is a story. She posted it on her page, shy at first, double-checking the caption 3 times. I watched her hit share, and then tossed the phone aside like it burned her. But within hours it began. Small likes, comments. A local eco-style account reposted it. A boutique followed her, and then the message requests started rolling in. She's amazing. Where can I buy this? Finally, a young designer who sees things differently. I sat beside her at the kitchen table, pretending to be calm, while the flicker of hope in her eyes nearly undid me. She had done something. She had created something. And the world for once was beginning to see it. The next morning I opened my phone to check the post again. That's when I saw it. A new comment. No profile picture. No followers. No posts. Looks familiar. Pretty sure this design was done by a student at Eastview Prep last year. Below it, someone had replied with Colt's handle. I didn't react right away, just stared at the screen. I knew what this was. Not coincidence, not criticism, a move. Lena hadn't seen it yet, but she would. 2 days later, Sable posted a story. A shot of Colt holding a sketchbook, the page blurred just enough to be unreadable. The caption read, "Ideas are everywhere. The real question is who executes them best." No names, no direct accusations, just enough to rot something from the inside. I didn't respond. I didn't call her. Instead, I pulled out the folder where we kept everything. Original sketches, dates, versions, process photos. I uploaded one, the earliest scan of the jacket pattern, dated 6 months ago. I posted it with a simple caption. No filter, just facts. That night, the comments started splitting in two. Some people defended, others doubted. I lay in bed, phone screen dimmed low, refreshing the feed even though I told myself not to. Then came a message. No name. But I recognized the tone. Just letting you know. They're not done yet. I stared at it for a long time before I whispered into the dark. Good. Then I set the phone down, eyes wide open in the quiet. Neither am I. It wasn't even my conversation. That's what made it worse. I was at work, stapling packets for a training seminar, when Carla, the office assistant, leaned over my desk with a smile. Saw your family's name in the district newsletter. That scholarship's a big deal. I blinked. What scholarship? She tilted her head, confused. The Wynn Family Creative Futures Fund? Colt's the first recipient, right? Didn't your parents set that up? I stared at her, holding the stapler in midair like it had just turned into a weapon. Colt, scholarship, family fund. I nodded slowly. Right, yeah, that. Later in the break room, I found the newsletter online. There it was. A full paragraph about Donald and Elaine Wynn sponsoring a new art scholarship for exceptional middle schoolers. Colt had shown early leadership in vision and execution. His photo beamed at the top of the page. Sable stood beside him, arm on his shoulder. Lena's name was nowhere. Neither was mine. That weekend, I got a text from Elaine. Dinner Sunday? I said yes. At the table, everything was normal. Casserole, fresh rolls, Colt talking about field trips and AP credits, Sable humming in approval. They talked about the scholarship casually, like it was something we'd all been in on. Donald chuckled. Colt's got structure, vision. He knows where he's going. Then he turned to me, like he was offering a compliment. Lena's still creative, right? I smiled. Small, safe. They didn't know I'd read the newsletter. They didn't ask if Lena had applied for anything. They didn't care if she ever would. That night at home, Lena helped me refold fabrics in the living room. She picked out a bright yellow linen and said, Maybe I can use this for the camp project. Camp? I asked. Summer art camp. The one Miss Ketterman mentioned. I want to apply. I didn't tell her we couldn't afford it. I just said, let's make something first, then we'll figure it out. She smiled and went back to sketching. After she fell asleep, I pulled out a notebook from the back of my closet. The cover was faded, bent at the corners. Family notes. I flipped to a blank page and wrote the date, then one sentence. They gave their money to him. I will give my fire to her. That was the first entry, not the last. The market opened at 9, but Lena was ready by 8. Her little table was set with folded fabrics, hand-lettered price tags, and sketches pinned up like museum pieces. She wore her favorite creation, a jacket made from a patchwork of old curtains and lined with pieces of a floral tablecloth we found last spring. She looked taller that morning, not physically, but in spirit. I held a paper cup of coffee and stood behind her, half guard dog, half silent cheerleader. She adjusted the sign that said Lena made this, tracing her finger along each letter like she needed to remind herself it was real. People came, strangers mostly. Some asked about her process. Others just smiled and said, "Good for her." One woman bought a lavender satchel Lena had sewn the week before and told her, "You're doing something special here." Lena blushed, said thank you, wrote a tiny "first sale" on the back of her notebook. I kept glancing at the entrance, waiting, hoping. They never came. Not Elaine, not Donald, not Sable, not even Colt, who lived 6 blocks away. I didn't cry. Neither did Lena. But each hour that passed without a familiar face made the joy quieter. Not gone, just muffled. Around noon, a local journalist walked by, curious. She took a few photos, asked Lena what inspired her. Lena said, "Making something new from things people throw away." Her voice didn't shake, but her eyes darted toward the parking lot before answering. After we packed up, I drove us home in silence. The kind that doesn't hurt. It just confirms what you already knew. 3 days later, a thick envelope arrived in the mail. I opened it at the kitchen counter. Colt's Honor Society celebration. Gold foil lettering. The kind of invitation you keep in a drawer even if you don't attend. Inside was a folded note from Sable. "Hope you and Lena can make it. Formal attire encouraged." I stared at it. Not out of surprise, but because of what it represented. They remembered this. Just not the other thing. That evening, I opened the gallery app on my phone and chose the photo I'd taken of Lena on market day. Her standing behind the booth, holding a brown paper bag, smiling like she was still waiting for someone to show up. I posted it. Caption: "Sometimes the ones who clap the loudest were never even invited." Then I turned my phone off. The story was already out there. The air inside the community center buzzed with polite chatter and the gentle click of heels on polished floors. This was a bigger crowd than last time. More booths, more attention. A few small media outlets were there, quietly documenting. A boutique rep browsed the aisles with intent, clipboard tucked under her arm. Lena's table sat near the corner, facing a wide window where sunlight spilled across her fabric displays. She wore a deep green vest she'd made herself from a pair of old curtains, fastened with mismatched brass buttons. It made her look older in the best way, not in age, but in vision. Her sketches were neatly laid out. One piece, a reconstructed evening coat made from a tablecloth and thrifted lace, hung on a portable mannequin beside her. She didn't say much. She never did. But her eyes were steady, scanning the faces that passed by, waiting for someone. They showed up just before noon. Sable, in full makeup. Colt trailing behind her, eyes on his phone. They walked by like it was nothing, like they were just browsing. Colt paused, looked at the coat, tilted his head. "Looks good," he said. Then he kept walking. Lena didn't flinch, but her hands paused mid-fold, hovering over a swatch of fabric. I watched her, watched the moment pass through her. She didn't look after him. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. It should have felt like validation, a scrap of recognition. Instead, it felt like what it was, a drop of water in a well gone dry. Later, in the parking lot, Sable approached me while Lena packed up our booth. "She's talented," she said, smiling that soft, calculated smile. "But she's too sensitive. You really should help her toughen up. The world doesn't care how she feels." I didn't answer, because I'd heard this before. "You're too much. You're not enough. You'll make it harder for her if you keep encouraging the softness." But that softness was where all the beauty came from. That night, after dinner, Lena sat at the table cutting fabric, humming the same off-key tune she always did when she was in her world. I opened my laptop and found an email waiting. A small magazine, independent, thoughtful, wanted to feature Lena's work in a spring design spread. I said yes, attached photos, didn't tell the family, and I didn't plan to. Later, I posted one of the shots from the showcase. Lena standing next to her coat, light pouring in through the window behind her. She never needed to toughen up, I wrote. She just needed to be heard. They didn't look. She didn't need them to. Sometimes what breaks you doesn't come in the form of a scream, but in the silence that follows applause you were never meant to hear. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Your worth is not defined by who shows up for you, but by how you keep showing up for yourself. For years I waited for recognition from the wrong people. I folded myself small, hoping to fit into their frame of approval. But my daughter taught me what legacy really means. It's not what we inherit, it's what we build and who we build it for. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Or that someone else's success came at the cost of your silence? I'd love to hear your story. If this video touched you, drop a 1 in the comments or let me know where you're watching from. And if you didn't connect with it, tell me why. I want to understand. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more stories that stay with you long after they end.